The best desktop computer trading in January 2022. Even the best laptops can't beat the comfort and utility of a desktop PC. When you're settling in for an hours-long work or gaming session, it's always better to have a large monitor, a proper keyboard, and a dedicated mouse, not to mention the future-proofing upgradability that a desktop computer gives you. Building a PC isn't cost-effective now thanks to ongoing chip shortages, but you can still take advantage of some great desktop computer deals if you know where to look. There's a lot to choose from, so we've put together this list of the best desktop computer deals available now. You don't have to pay out the nose for a desktop PC that can handle your daily workload. If you're looking for a cheap one, this Lenovo Idea Center desktop is your best bet for under $400. An AMD Athlon Silver CPU and 8 GB of RAM are fairly basic, but nonetheless offer enough juice for everyday use, while the 256 GB gives you a nice combo of speed and decent storage space. A wired mouse and keyboard are included as well. You can score this cheap desktop computer deal for a super affordable discounted price at the moment. Moving down in size a bit from standard desktop towers, the Beelink Mini PC is a great cheap desktop computer with a small footprint. It packs an Intel Core i3 CPU, 16 GB of RAM, and a quick-loading 500 GB SSD. It has both Wi-Fi and Bluetooth connectivity as well. It also comes with 2 HDMI ports and is capable of 4K video output, allowing you to use it with more than one display if you're the multitasking type. Its mounting bracket even allows you to attach it directly to the back of most monitors for a totally streamlined setup. The only caveat is that you'll have to buy your peripherals separately. Desktop computers aren't exactly known for their small footprints, but the pint-sized Mac Mini from Apple can free up some desk space a bit. This one packs Apple's amazing new M1 CPU plus 8 GB of DDR4 RAM, very nice specs for work, browsing, and streaming, and you also get a snappy 256 GB SSD for storage. That's not quite as large as a traditional hard drive, but much faster than those HDDs of yesteryear. What sells the new late 2020 Apple Mac Mini desktop computer is not just its small size, but its value. It's on sale right now, and it's far and away one of the cheapest brand new macOS computers you can find at the moment. Just plug in your peripherals and you're ready to roll. While gaming laptops have narrowed the gap in recent years, affordable desktop PCs like this HP Pavilion are still the best way to enjoy some gaming capabilities on a budget. This desktop tower packs a Ryzen 5 CPU, 8 GB of RAM, an NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1650 Super graphics card, and a 256 GB SSD, which is a nice sweet spot in power for a cheap 1080p a 60 FPS PC gaming machine at this price point. The hardware alone is pretty decent, but to sweeten this cheap desktop deal even further, the computer also comes with a wired keyboard and optical mouse. This desktop gaming PC is a very solid value at this discounted price. Along with a PC tower, you typically need a minimum of 3 peripherals to complete your desktop computer setup: a monitor, a keyboard, and a mouse. These are additional costs, but if you want everything in a single package, and one that won't take up much space on your desk, then an all-in-one system like this Lenovo Idea Center 24-inch AIO desktop is a great option for a super sleek workstation fit for the 2020s. This Lenovo all-in-one comes equipped with an AMD Ryzen 5 CPU with Radeon Vega graphics plus 16 GB of RAM and a 512 GB SSD, all of which sits right inside the 24-inch 1080p monitor housing. That design, including a mouse and keyboard, can be yours for a great price right now. A tower with similar specs would cost you about that much by itself, so this is a great value considering that it has everything you need right out of the box with hardware that will last you for years to come. Tiptoeing up to our budget limit brings us to this beefy Lenovo Legion gaming tower, which has pretty much everything we want in a desktop at this price. It boasts an AMD Ryzen 5 3600X processor, an NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1660Ti GPU with 6 GB of VRAM and 8 GB of DDR4 RAM, which all work together to deliver good gaming performance for playing the latest titles with a suitable gaming monitor. On top of that, you've got a 256 GB SSD for storage, along with an included wired keyboard and mouse. The glass panel also looks great and makes future mods and upgrades much easier. This solid gaming desktop is a great value for less than $1,000. hitting our price limit comfortably below the mark. After setting your budget, it's time to decide what exactly you're looking for in a good cheap desktop computer. First, is this PC going to be primarily for work and general daily use, primarily for gaming, or a fairly even split between these? This will naturally determine what sort of specs you're looking at, such as, for instance, whether you need a discrete graphics card or not. But the good news is that in the sub-$1,000 category, you can find many good desktop PCs packing solid up-to-date hardware that won't be outdated within 2 years. Another important consideration is peripheral. What monitor is your desktop computer going to be connected to? Do you already have a mouse and keyboard? If not, do you want a desktop PC that comes with these included, or do you plan to buy nicer ones separately? Bear in mind that while many desktop towers come with accessories, you'll still need to decide how much you're budgeting for things like a monitor, a keyboard, a mouse, mousepad, speakers, and other peripherals you might need. The bottom line is this: don't merely look at the price and basic hardware specs when shopping for a cheap desktop computer. Set your budget, know exactly what features you want, and then work from there. When shopping for any sort of cheap computer, be it a laptop or desktop PC, the biggest risk you'll face is ending up with something that is running on outdated hardware. This is what happens when you consider only the price and don't familiarize yourself with the current state of computer hardware. Thankfully, there's not too much to remember. First, when looking at CPUs, it's best to stick with 9th and 10th generation Intel Core processors and AMD Ryzen processors, as these are more recent and will keep your system, even a relatively basic one, reasonably future-proof. We also suggest a minimum of 8 GB of RAM, unless you're sailing into sub-$300 waters, and 16 GB is even more strongly recommended for something like a gaming desktop. Finally, solid-state drives are generally preferable to traditional hard drive. These SSDs are generally more reliable and considerably faster than old-school HDDs, although they offer less storage space per dollar. Any PC packing an up-to-date CPU, GPU, and SSD should be good to go for gaming, and there are plenty of good cheap desktop computers that fit this bill nicely. Along with the processors we mentioned, modern graphics card generations include NVIDIA's 16 and 20 series cards, although you'll be sticking with the GTX 16 series GPUs in the sub-$1,000 price bracket. These replaced NVIDIA's 10 series cards as entry and mid-level GPUs. And while there are still PCs with those older cards floating around, we don't recommend them in 2020. AMD's Radeon family of budget and mid-tier graphics card includes the RX 500 series, with GPUs like the RX 570, 580, and 590 offering good performance capabilities for 1080p gaming. You're not likely to achieve 4K or even 1440p gaming with most cheap desktop computers, but that is a sacrifice you make for keeping costs down. Also, remember that an SSD will load games noticeably faster than an HDD. Looking for more great stuff? Find tech discounts and much more on our curated deals page.